Welcome to the STEM Seekers Podcast, the podcast that equips you to help kids seek God through science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm your host, David, and once again we have...
Jeanette.
Oh, man, we're getting good at that opening there. Getting it tightened up. Oh, good. All right. So today we are going to review one of our recommendations. We're finding that for some reason our recommendations and our reviews are not actually lining up with these podcasts.
But we're on track now. After this, we're on track.
There you go. Okay, so the one that we are reviewing today is Gadget Man, and so you had an opportunity to watch Gadget Man. What was your thoughts on it?
I did. I watched 2 episodes. It's entertaining for the most part. I don't understand why there are so many gadgets for so many different things, but to each their own. Yeah, so I watched it with David's family and with my husband. He kind of came in on the end of it, and yeah, it's entertaining. That's about it.
What did you think of it, Richard?
I liked it. There's a lot of gadgets on the world that you don't realize.
Yeah, right?
So there you go.
I think one of the things that I really like about it is that you see all these gadgets, and the show is a little bit older. Like it's not the most cutting edge things now, but that it shows a lot of the technology that is created that we never see.
Right.
Because we see the most refined and the most useful generally that comes to us within our households, but it shows, hey, here are some of the ridiculous things that you never saw, and that's the process of engineering things and creating things, is building silly, ridiculous things that nobody will ever use, but hopefully someday we kind of find our way, maybe stumble our way and fall face first into something that is actually useful.
Yes.
Right? So there you go. Well, I'm glad at least it was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
There you go. We should put a disclaimer on it. We did see that the rating does increase on season 4. So anyways, I haven't watched season 4, so I can't speak to it. But anyways, I enjoy watching it with my kids. It's on Amazon Prime. I don't think I mentioned that before.
No.
I just made the recommendation. It's on Prime. So if you have that, then you can watch it that way. All right. Next we have our STEM bucket.
So STEM bucket. So I know I'm going to bring up something that David has talked about and mentioned, at least to me or in some of our talks. But there's always those kids who are kind of like on the sidelines. They don't really want to be involved because they're shy, or they may not feel that this is their thing. How do we get that? Like, how can STEM help with that? Can STEM bring them into it and get kids going that don't normally? They're normally the ones on the sidelines.
Right. I think that was one of the things that really drew me to STEM initially, because we did a lot of camps and stuff before we started developing STEM ministries. And there were always kids that sat out on the sidelines that struggled to kind of engage in group settings and group learning and that kind of thing. And I found that STEM was a way that drew in those kids that would normally be on the outside. But now, having done STEM for a couple of years now, that I find that there's still kids that, that don't engage as much. And usually, funnily enough, they're usually the more social kids that I find will sometimes be like, hey, I just want to go and hang out with my friends, and I've brought my stuffies along with me. And, and I'm like, don't you know how cool it is, all this STEM stuff that's here and whatever. And anyways, and I take it very personally, Jeanette.
I know you do. But that's okay. You will move on eventually.
Eventually I'll move on. But I've found, just like as the STEM, like what resource to pass along, I have found with those kids, just to invite them in to something that you are doing goes such a long way. One of the things that I needed to do, I wasn't finding time during the week to put together this 3D printer that I needed to. And so I thought, you know what? That's a real STEM thing. I'm going to bring it with me to STEM Club. And so I just said to the kids, hey, I'll give you some badges if you come and help me to be able to put this thing together. And initially there were no kids that came over, but what I found was there was one or two girls that were just kind of off to the side and they weren't engaging with any STEM equipment. And I said, hey, do you want to come and give me a hand with this? And they just jumped right in. And that was really cool. And they thought it was really cool because they actually got to see how not just to be able to assemble something, but they got to see how a 3D printer kind of actually works. It wasn't running by the time we were done, but they were like, hey, this is how this part of it is going up and down, and if you turn this, then the extruder head moves over here and stuff, and oh, do you have to spin that by hand? Oh no, there's a motor here that will do that automatically once we get it all plugged in and powered up. And so there's some really cool things like that, and it just was for me it was going past the taking things personally because the kids weren't taking initiative to be involved in something, to saying, okay, I'm going to take a step out and just invite kids into this experience.
Right.
And that did a lot.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of inviting kids into an experience, we have a couple of STEM kids that we're going to invite into this podcast experience today. So let's see if we can get those kids in. Nathan and Luke! See if they can hear me.
I don't know.
Nathan and Luke! Nathan! Luke!
I'll be right there.
Alright, you guys can have this seating.
We have a special chair, one for each of you over here.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay, so today we have Nathan and Luke that are joining us.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
All right, and so we are going to call this. What are we calling this segment, Jeanette?
From the mouth of a STEM kid.
There you go, or STEM kids.
STEM kids.
Because we have two of them here today, and so these are. So you guys have attended STEM Club, which is amazing.
1 year. That I think it's 2 years for Nathan, 3 years for me. Yeah.
Very cool. So, so we've got some questions to just ask you about STEM Club and what you like about it and that kind of thing. So maybe I will start with Nathan. Nathan, what is your favorite part of STEM Club?
My favorite part of STEM Club is STEM time.
And so can you explain to our listeners what STEM time is?
So STEM time is basically when we get to play with all the STEM toys, like snap circuits and Lego motors and other things. That's and Gravitrons. That's the same with me, but you might not get those. You might get them later because you could have different things basically. And mine, I also like STEM time. He just stole the description from me. So basically, yeah.
Nice. So Luke, where do you go to STEM Club?
Harvest Church, Ontario.
Yeah, Harvest Church in Huntsville.
Yeah.
That's right, which is also in Ontario. Which is, pretty cool. There you go, and that's where Nathan, you used to go to STEM Club, right? But then you got too old.
Yeah, I'm going to a different program.
There you go, but still enjoyed STEM Club, I assume, while you were able.
To go.
There you go. So, at STEM Club, you guys really liked STEM time, and
Yeah.
so STEM time is really about you guys creating and kind of discovering and learning through that. And so, what is a STEM invention that either you have created or something that you have just thought, oh, that would be so cool if I could create that?
Okay. One thing that I've created is, one thing that I want to create is to use Lego motors to create a car, and then combine with snap circuit so I can attach a fan and have it launch off like a weapon.
Whoa.
I've made like an air-powered car with Lego motors. I hooked up like a fan, but it's very dangerous. It could it would really hurt if you touched it when it was going, and then it would just go straight or backward. No, I think it was just straight. The only way to get it to go in one direction is to push it, or to get it to go backwards, you have to flip it all the way around.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That sounds like it would just kind of go crazy.
Yeah, it does.
Do you like to make crazy things, Luke?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Because, what if the fan came loose?
Oh, who knows?
Well, in golf, when things go crazy, you yell 4. So maybe
We
you
need
would
something
yell,
like that.
"Look out!"
Yeah, what would you yell out
don't
at STEM
know.
Club if something went crazy?
Oh, I know.
And-
Ion! I don't know.
Watch out for the crazy toy! Watch out for the crazy invention.
That's right.
STEM launched!
There you go. That one might
go.
work. There you go.
STEM launched! Lockdown!
All right. Well, STEM Ministries isn't just learning about creating stuff, but it's also learning about God. So, how has STEM helped you learn more about God?
He can do the
So here, why don't we start with Luke this time for this one?
he can do the impossible, and we were learning about atoms, not cells.
Mm-hmm.
And then every atom can make something. I think it was water was two liquids in one hydrogen.
Two hydrogen and one oxygen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then wine is a whole bunch of different things. And then there's a story of when Jesus turns water into wine. He just randomly just made a whole bunch of different cells in seconds.
Yeah, because the things that were needed, the atoms that were needed to create create the wine weren't in the water, right? And because one of the things that we learned about is that can atoms be created?
No, they can't be recreated.
Mm-hmm. You can't get any more of them except who can make more atoms?
God.
That's right, God can. So hey, we learned more.
Here's our chemistry lesson for today.
Which is so cool that we can that you can see the story of Jesus turning water into wine, and learning more about STEM can make you go like, wow, that's actually really cool. That it's not just that he made that, but that he had to actually create certain things that weren't there to actually make it happen. So that was really cool. Nathan, was there something that you had thought of?
Well, I was thinking that nothing is impossible for God.
And what about STEM makes you think about that nothing is impossible for God?
Because in the story of Moses, when God talked to him through the burning bush, it did not burn up, which defies the law of the conservation of energy. and that it should have burned up, but it didn't.
That's right. Yeah, it's actually really interesting that you two were both talking about those two things, because yours, Nathan, is about how energy can't be created or destroyed, and how Luke's was how matter can't be created or destroyed, which are two things that are actually quite similar to each other. But yeah, that is so cool. All right. One thing we didn't actually talk to you about beforehand, guys, but something that we've been doing in our house is there's a book about questionable inventions, and that's one of our segments here on the STEM Seekers podcast. Is we talk sometimes about really strange inventions that might not have been the best inventions to make.
I know a few.
Yeah. So, can you think of maybe one that you thought was a really strange, questionable invention?
The bomb.
Oh, okay. Luke, what was that one?
It's just like you never know what it's gonna explode, and if you're holding it and you're like gonna throw it, but it explodes in your hand, it would backfire. So it might backfire on you sometimes.
Now, is that something in the book, or is that just bombs in general?
In general.
Oh, okay, bombs in general. Yeah, bombs you have to be really careful around. That is true. Absolutely. All right, Nathan, what was one that you had?
That usually result in injuries.
Okay.
So, one is an alarm clock that attaches to your bed, and so if you don't get up in time, the bed will flip over and put you on the ground. You would get injuries, or at least a grumpy start to your day.
Yeah.
So you know what? You have an uncle that I don't think would wake up even if he got dumped on the floor.
And another one was the electric-powered pogo stick. Oh yeah, that.
Oh no, it wasn't
one.
it wasn't electric. It was gas powered.
Gas-powered
That's
pogo stick.
right. Yeah.
And so some people reported seeing into second-story windows.
What?
Wow.
By jumping on it. But if you just landed a minuscule off, you would fall off and you would break your arm.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah. And like if you jump, because if you jumped, you might even land on the roof of a second-story house.
Well, those are some pretty questionable inventions.
Yes.
I agree. I think those are ones that we can do without. We can do
Absolutely.
We can do without bombs, or we can do without gas-powered pogo sticks and alarm clocks that dump you out of your bed.
And I know something that connects to the rocket-powered pogo stick.
Well.
I broke my arm once.
Oh yes, you did, didn't you? Yeah, but that wasn't with a questionable invention. That was with something that was amazing called bouldering.
Yeah. No, but just about
All in the
breaking
eye of the
arm.
perspective,
That's
you know.
I still do it. It's really fun.
All right, very cool. All right, to wrap things up, we've got our STEM recommendation for the day, and this one is the Unprofessional Engineering Podcast. So this is a couple of guys that are engineers, and they say that it's not professional engineering, but in all fairness, it's probably a lot more professional than what we do here.
Yes, most likely. Most likely.
So that's something definitely to check out.
Yeah. We will be doing that.
Very cool.
So, David, did we ever get a sponsor?
No, we still don't have a sponsor.
We don't have a sponsor.
So once again, we are sponsored by Child Evangelism Fellowship Ontario that helps support churches to be able to reach kids with the gospel. And so if you are looking for support in reaching kids, whether that's through training for your workers or looking for some amazing programs with STEM and so on, feel free to get in touch with us. You can find us on our website at cefontario.org. And yeah, that's it. We will talk to you next time. All right.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.